Welcome back to the Balancing Act podcast. I'm Andy Temte. On the Balancing Act, we talk to business leaders and industry experts to explore the balancing acts we play in our professional lives and learn about the events that put rocket boosters behind their career success. Today, we have Ron Green joining us. Ron is the co-founder and chief technology officer at KUNGFU.AI. I don't think there's a more fun artificial intelligence name out there. It's a leading AI management consultancy and engineering firm. Ron is a sought-after speaker, thought leader, and podcast host himself who has more than 20 years of experience in artificial intelligence. Welcome to the show, Ron.
Andy, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's. I haven't had many guests talking specifically about AI, so I'm really excited for this conversation. But before we get started, what's the elevator pitch version of your story?
My elevator pitch. Let's see. Well, I've been doing this a long time now. I've been about 30 years in the technology business. I like to call myself a serial entrepreneur. I've founded or co-founded nearly 10 companies, and I've been very, very lucky to work in really diverse spaces. Everything from biotechnology to telecommunications to security, and I've been really blessed that AI, which has been my passion since the early 90s, has finally come to fruition. So you're talking to somebody who feels just very, very lucky to get up every day and do work in a field that they're passionate about.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're waiting and kind of for this moment that it has to be, because most of us are like artificial intelligence, whatever, in the 90s and the 2000s, right, and even the early 2010s just kind of snuck up on us. But you've been waiting for this.
I have, yeah. And you know what's funny is when the first course I ever took in artificial intelligence was the very last semester of my computer science degree, my undergraduate computer science degree. And I remember instantly thinking, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And my very next thought was, I'm too late. They've got this all figured out. I wish I had gotten into AI earlier. Man, I had no idea it was actually maybe 20 years too early.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great advice for learners of any age. Sometimes you're too late, but usually, if you think you're too late, your timing is probably pretty good. So
I couldn't agree more. I think it's really hard to find something in general that I think you are too late for. Follow your heart, follow your passion. It's never too late.
Yeah, the rotary phone, you're probably too late for that.
You want to go into pager cells, you're probably too late.
Right. So, Ron, if you had to pick one event in your life that was real accelerant for your career, what would it be?
I would say it was my second job out of college. I ended up moving to Toronto and was one of the very, very, very first employees of an early stage biotech company called Visible Genetics. And we were building high-speed DNA sequencing software and hardware. And I was just amazed that this small group of people were able to tackle such a complicated, challenging, bleeding edge task without necessarily having any experience. I mean, nobody had experience, give or take, building DNA sequencing platforms at that point. It was brand new. It had all just really become feasible from a technology perspective. And I was stunned. I was working with this group of really smart people, and it really opened my mind more than anything else professionally. It made me realize you don't need permission to do something. You don't need credentials. You don't need certificates. You can go and enter any field, especially if you're in the software realm. And if you're dedicated and you learn and you put your heart into it, you can contribute and you can master that area. And it really unlocked a part of my brain where I realized that anything that I might want to do with the rest of my life from a professional perspective was open. And I don't think I felt that way at all prior to that experience.
Oh, that's wonderful, and a great lesson again for learners of any age. So, Ron, today's show all about artificial intelligence and its role in transforming the business landscape. I want to start with a positive. I want to keep things on a positive footing today because there's so much doom and gloom that's out there. Can you give us an example from your consulting practice where artificial intelligence is being used to solve a problem that was viewed as previously intractable and is now really supercharged the business?
Yeah, I can maybe give a couple of quick examples that they're just incredibly diverse, and it'll maybe give people a feel for the breadth of things that are happening out there. We did work for a publicly traded company, I can't name them, that is in the loan factoring space, and they do literally tens of billions in loan per year. And they have hundreds of people vetting this and making this decision. And they had built up 20 years of sort of institutional knowledge, and they were looking at a way to really transform the space. They wanted to make faster decisions, make better decisions, and automate a lot of the decisions to reduce costs. We built a model that was trained on their proprietary data that they built up, again, over decades. And that model was able to transform the business. They went from operating business hours, 5 days a week, with 24 to 48 hour delay on decisions to 24/7, never close, 9-second decisions. So you could have your loan application decided on within 9 seconds. And the beautiful thing about this is not only did it become much more responsive for the customers when they needed decisions, fraud went down, chargebacks went down, customer satisfaction went up, and all of the hundreds of people they had doing that job are all still there. There was nobody let go as a part of this initiative. All of those people are handling the 40% of loan decisions that the AI system felt were either too suspect, might involve fraud, needed additional sort of investigation. So it's one of those examples of AI where you get wins along really every dimension. And then this is about as hard 180 as you can do. We also just had a model that we built for one of our clients in the biotech space, healthcare space, get approved by the FDA. It's a de novo acceptance. This is a absolute state-of-the-art breast cancer risk prediction model. And what's interesting about this is this model doesn't detect cancer because there is no cancer. This is a much, much more difficult task. It can look at mammograms and it can accurately predict the risk of that woman getting breast cancer 5 years in advance. And it took us about 4 years worth of work. And the beautiful thing, or the miraculous thing about this, is if you showed a radiologist or an oncologist those mammograms, they would say, clean bill of health, there is nothing to see here. There is no sign of cancer. And I've seen many, many instances of that where the model scored very, very high probability cancer, and that actually turned out to be true. So this is something that is going to save millions of lives, I think, over the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And I love that first example where all the people are still there.
That's right.
And I presume that those people are likely more engaged in their work because they're doing higher order jobs, and the drudgery has been outsourced to the artificial intelligence. Do I have that right?
You got that exactly right. So, for example, they used to have to say, are these forms completed, and were there signatures there, and was there duplicate, potential information and things like that, and they had to do, fraud analysis, and all of that just happens magically now, and they can focus on the differentiation that humans can bring to the table.
Yeah, Yeah. So I like to run thought experiments on the show. Let's suppose that I'm the CEO of a mid-sized business for $400 million, let's say, in some industry that really doesn't matter. What tactical or strategic errors would you advise that I avoid as it relates to incorporating AI into my business? We all know about the shiny ball syndrome.
Yes.
What am I supposed to avoid here?
I would boil my advice down into just sort of a handful of things. If you're getting started with artificial intelligence, start with what really truly matters. Focus on business value. Don't do AI for AI's sake. Don't start up an initiative because you're getting pressure from the board, or because you think that if you don't make a move, you will be outmaneuvered by your competitors. Focus on things that really deliver value. Focus on tangible ROI. There is so much low-hanging fruit, so much opportunity out there that there is no reason to do something grand and dramatic. Don't do a moonshot. Build things that deliver value today and get buy-in from your organization. Don't force it on them. So as long as you just stick with, this is, to me, it's just common, basic business sense. Focus on building things that deliver real value, and you will get value out of that money and time spent.
Yeah. Awesome advice. Now, you're still talking to that same mid-sized business CEO. I keep up with the news on artificial intelligence in trade journals and the mainstream media, but what am I not seeing today that, to me, is going to come out of left field and disrupt my knowledge of what's really going on in the space? What's just over the horizon?
I'm not sure if the average person is aware of the really significant advances that are being made in reasoning models right now. And so, for example, if you say artificial intelligence, they immediately think of ChatGPT, and they're familiar with interacting with ChatGPT. And the default model and the traditional large language model technique is this sort of auto-regressive approach where you're predicting the next token or next word. There have been some advances in less than the last year around reasoning models. These are models that have the ability to essentially reflect on their own output in a deeper way. It's often called chain of thought. And if you look at the thought traces of these models, instead of just immediately giving you the answer, they'll reflect to themselves. It looks like they're talking to themselves. And they will say, okay, so the user wants me to analyze this. Okay, so I need to be aware of these consequences, and I need to take these facts into consideration. And then as it's generating the output, it will reference its own plans and make sure that it's done these things. So I think reasoning models are huge. And part of what they're enabling is agentic AI. You may have heard of this. It's a bit buzzy right now. I would caution everybody out there, don't go race into agentic AI systems necessarily. It's still early days, but this is something that's coming fast. 26, 27, they're going to be everywhere. And the reasoning model capability is a big part of what's enabling this, because we're going to be able to automate complicated tasks that can take hours or days for humans to do. And we're going to have these agentic AI systems that will go away, and they may go away for an hour or a day as well. And when they come back, they will have solved the problem for you.
Yeah. Wow. And when you say agentic AI, I just want to make sure that listeners understand what that means in very simple terms. Can you help us with that?
Yeah. Agentic AI systems are any AI system where you can give the AI model a high order task, and it can go perform a series of actions to accomplish that task. And it can handle things like uncertainty. It can handle. It can make logical reasoning decisions. So let's take something concrete. If you were dealing with an agentic system right now, it could do something like make a dinner reservation for you. You could say, I'm looking for dinner for myself and my wife this Friday between these hours, and these are the types of food, Italian, whatever it may be, that I'm interested in. Go book us a reservation. And it could go out and look at multiple restaurants, look at availability, make trade-offs, consider the weather, know your preferences, and book that. And it may take it several minutes to perform this task, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and it can book it. That is just a little taste of what's happening. We're going to have these systems very soon that are able to perform tasks. In fact, right now, I just saw a paper this week. It said that the latest frontier AI models can now complete tasks that are an hour and a half with 50% success rate. So that means you can go give it an hour and a half's worth of work to do, and about half the time it'll work. That's the reason it's not really quite ready for business enterprise yet. Right. If it's a personal thing, great. But those success metrics are going to skyrocket, and the duration is going to grow. And there are a lot of people who think by 2030, these AI systems will be capable of performing tasks that take humans weeks or months.
Wow, Ron. Thanks. Mind is a little blown right now, so we're going to take a really quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Ron Green talking about AI. Hey everyone, I'd like to invite you to start your weekend with me on the Saturday Morning Muse podcast. I briefly explore topics that span leadership, business management, education, and personal continuous improvement. Subscribe to the Saturday Morning Muse podcast on your favorite podcast streaming app or visit andrewtemte.com for more information. And we're back with Ron Green talking about all things artificial intelligence. Ron, now another thought experiment. You have a mid-career manager sitting right in front of you right now who's resistant to change, as many of individuals in the workforce are, and they see AI as a threat. What's your coaching advice to this individual to help them see the benefits of being part of the change versus this too shall pass?
Mm-hmm. I would tell them to understand that AI is a tool. My advice would be to shift your mindset from seeing AI as a threat to really viewing it as an opportunity to elevate your impact. Remember that AI systems as they stand today can handle repetitive, time-consuming tasks that will free you up to focus on higher order work like strategy or creative tasks. And that, there's a saying that a lot of people say, this is probably the truth. AI may not take your job, but someone who uses AI will. Lean into it. It's not about fear. It's about opportunity. Embrace it and understand that it's a tool. It's a new tool, and it may feel a little bit scary, but there's a real opportunity to leverage it to make the impact that you can have professionally much greater than if you just ignore it and dismiss it.
Yeah. It's great advice. Now, on the skills and learning side of the equation, which I'm an educator, so I like talking about that a lot, you still have that same mid-career manager sitting right in front of you right now. The coaching you just gave cracked the door open just a little bit. What should be on the top of their learning and development to-do list? What can I be doing right now?
I would focus on what really matters, meaning understand how to use the tools available today that would impact your work. This will vary by field. Almost anybody would be able to leverage something like Claude or ChatGPT to help generate summaries or reports or analyze reports. There are capabilities called deep research. These are modes you can put these models into, and you can give them very complicated tasks like go analyze the last 3 years of sales reports and give them access to thousands of documents and come back and summarize them and make recommendations, things that would have been unimaginable a year ago. Don't get lost. Don't get lost in the details. You don't need to be an AI expert. You don't have to understand the technology at a deep level. Focus on the things, focus on understanding the tools that will affect your space. If you're in marketing, there are more and more tools that can generate videos and images and copyright material that is very valuable. And you can use, whether it's like an image generation tool like Midjourney, you can use them as a creative assistant. You don't necessarily have to outsource the entire creative task. You can use them to maybe give you ideas on where to start. So again, it's really about opening your mind and embracing this new technology as a tool that is valuable to you.
Yeah. So on the skills side of things, would you say that curiosity is something that I should also be working on, and almost the art of asking good questions? Isn't that a big part of what getting? Because it's all garbage in, garbage out. If I'm not asking the right question, then I'm not going to get what I expect back. I would expect that asking good questions would and being curious would be skills that I would have to hone.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think a lot of people are still at that early stage where they're not thinking deeply about how these tools could be leveraged to have an impact. And so like you can even get meta with your creativity, meaning interact with one of these models and tell it what you do and tell it to tell you or give you suggestions on how you should use it. We're in a world now where that's entirely possible.
Oh, nice.
You can literally tell the tool to tell it how you should use the tool. And that's the beauty of the technology. And we're just, again, at the early stages of that.
Oh, that's great advice. Now, Ron, what have we missed today that our listeners really need to know about what's happening in AI right now?
I would say a couple of things. One is AI is really hyped. I work in this field. This is how I make a living. Even I'm a little tired of the hype. Okay. So don't forget, it is a tool just like anything else, just like any other technology. But at the same time, I would really encourage people to not underestimate the tool, because this is something unique. This is the first technology that humans have ever created that have the ability to perceive, whether it's images or sounds, and the ability to generate videos and poems and music at human levels. And the reasoning ability of these models, which we talked about earlier, are growing at a breakneck pace. Mm-hmm. And to top it all off, we are already seeing frontier labs use the previous generation's model to train the next generation. So this is the first technology in human history where we don't only leverage the technology to help build a better version of it, but we literally use it to train the next version of it. And that is a positive feedback loop that we've never had access to before.
Yeah. Very cool. Ron, you've been phenomenal today. I'm sure our listeners have extracted great value from this conversation. So let's go to our lightning round questions before we wrap up. If you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Number one, you just won $100 million lotto jackpot. There's a stipulation, however, that half of your net winnings go to one philanthropic organization or cause. Who do you pick?
I would pick an organization that is at the intersection of genetic research and artificial intelligence. And there are several of them out there that are doing things that I think are going to transform healthcare for humanity, because our ability to understand things like gene modifications in a really, really deep way. We are going to. This sounds like science fiction, but it's true. We already have gene therapies where we can cure diseases by modifying the actual genomes within living people, and that type of therapy is going to be accelerated with the introduction of artificial intelligence. So I would unhesitantly put my money there.
Excellent. Number two, I give you access to a really rudimentary time machine. You can send a message to an earlier version of Ron Green. What's the message, and what previous version do you send it to?
I'd send it to myself right out of college, and I would say, aim high. Don't worry about failure. If you are trying to solve a hard problem, even if you fail, you get credit, because people are like, well, that was crazy. I mean, I'm impressed you even tried that. And if you try to tackle things that are more mundane, even if you succeed, maybe it's not that interesting or that impressive. And certainly if you fail, you don't get a lot of credit. So aim high, because even striking out, you will be respected, and you will feel good about yourself that you took that at bat.
Yeah. Awesome advice. Ron, we're all works in progress. What are you focused on right now in your personal journey of growth?
Oh, that is a great question. I'm trying to figure out a way to balance work with other aspects of life. Frankly, I think that, like a lot of entrepreneurs, I can sometimes be a little too heads down, and I don't want to make the mistake of living to work.
Yeah.
And I think I've got some growth to do there, but I'm conscious of it, and I know I'll make progress.
Yes, being aware is almost always the first step to success.
Yeah.
Ron, where can folks get a hold of you, learn more about KUNGFU.AI?
Yeah. Check out our website, KUNGFU.AI. Easy. You can reach out to me via email. It's just Ron, RON, at KUNGFU.AI. We have a podcast called Hidden Layers, where we talk about AI topics. I'm on all the normal, social media sites. So reach out if you have any questions out there, folks.
Where did the name Kung Fu come from?
Oh, good question. So we have two answers. We have the real story, and then we have the marketing story. The marketing story is, Kung Fu it does not mean martial arts. Kung Fu in Mandarin actually means any skill that is acquired through sort of hard work and effort, right? And so to master AI, you need to sort of have a Kung Fu mindset. But the reality is, we wanted a really catchy name, and we wanted a name that we could get a .ai a domain with, and we found KUNGFU.AI, and we loved it. And we just thought that's provocative and memorable. And then we walked into the marketing story.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. There are a lot of businesses, and my musical act, which is my other persona, there are two versions of the story of the name. One is the real story, and the other one is the one that we tell everybody else.
Yep.
So I totally get that. Ron, you were a fantastic guest today. Thank you so much for your contributions to our listeners.
Thank you so much for having me on, Andy. This was an absolute blast.
Yeah. Well, best wishes to you. We're looking forward to seeing what happens with you and your firm. My name is Andy Temte. This is the Balancing Act podcast. You can find us on all the major streaming services, as well as to see our handsome faces out on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, rate, and most importantly, share this public good with your friends, your colleagues, and your family, maybe if you like them. Show is produced by Nicholas Temte. We'll see you next time on The Balancing Act.